Well, hello, River Network. I'm Phil Sanderson. I pastor River Church Aberdeen, and it's such a privilege to get to speak to you in these days. You know, we are in such exciting times in the kingdom. I know that we are in lockdown, but the Lord is really hitting the reset button on the church. And one of the things that we really believe for and really contending for is for a fresh baptism of the Holy Spirit. Now, some people might get upset with the term baptism. It says later on that there's only one baptism. I get that. I understand that. But you know something? It's the language that Jesus used. So we should use it because Jesus used it. And I'm willing to allow Jesus to be right. I think generally speaking, he's always right. So let's just use the language that Jesus is using and just talk about a fresh baptism of the Holy Spirit because that's what we need, right? You know, after Jesus is raised from the dead, he gives two commands to the disciples. He says, wait until you receive the promise of the Father, the promised Holy Spirit. Then you'll be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the uttermost ends of the earth. But then he also says, go into all the world and make disciples of all nations. Well, you know something? Well, we can't go into all the world at the moment, so we have to wait. And what are we waiting for? Well, we're waiting to receive the promised Holy Spirit. We're waiting to receive power from on high. We're waiting to receive that fresh power from God. Last week we talked about faith and the need for an upgrade in faith and fresh faith. And you know, we don't receive the Holy Spirit, Paul tells us in Galatians chapter 3, by works of the law, but we receive by hearing with faith. So I need just to activate your faith this week to receive and believe to receive the Holy Spirit. You know, Holy Spirit is absolutely key within the life of the church. Powerless Christianity is not biblical Christianity. We're supposed to be clothed with power from on high. You know what's characterizing so many people in the world at the moment is the spirit of fear, right? We look on the news and it's telling us all the death tolls and the daily death tolls and all this kind of stuff. And it's so easy to come under that spirit of fear. But that is not the spirit that you have been given. You haven't been given a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of sound mind. That word sound mind in the Greek is the word sophimitzo. It can be translated self-control, sound mind, wise discretion. But really what Paul's talking about is the mind of Christ. That we have been given the mind of Christ. And the Lord is wanting to bring us to that place where we're starting to think like Jesus, because the Holy Spirit will cause us to be transformed from glory to ever-increasing glory as we start to have our mind renewed and we get transformed. And so what I really want to encourage you today is lay in to waiting on the Lord. You know that word waiting in the Bible, I think it's mentioned like 64 times or something like that. 59 times that it's mentioned, it uses the word to describe a hunter waiting for prey. The other 5 times that it's mentioned, it's using a word to describe a woman in labor, in childbirth. Both is waiting with expectation, active waiting, not sitting around twiddling your thumbs waiting, not spending 7 hours on Netflix waiting. It's actively waiting for the Lord, because as we wait for the Lord, then he's the one who renews us, right? And he is faithful to give what he has promised. You know, after Jesus was raised from the dead, 500 people saw him at once, but yet there's only 120 in the upper room. And I just wonder if that prayer meeting started off larger than what it finished. And so I want to encourage you to not be like the 380. I think that's right in terms of math. The 380 that weren't there. Maybe they started there, but they didn't follow through and they didn't press in to all that God had for them. Maybe they opted out of lockdown, because Acts chapter 1 is the church in lockdown, right? And it's so important in these days that as we wait on the Lord, that we press through. We got to be those who press through. We got to be those who are active in our waiting. You know, these little bite-sized things are designed to encourage your faith. But you need to take hold of them, because faith takes hold of things. Faith is the substance of things unseen and the certainty of things hoped for. I was saying to the church on Sunday, faith takes hold of grace and then it acts on it. Well, what we are looking for is for a fresh baptism, a fresh infilling of the Holy Spirit. Guys, it's there. It's available for you. If you've never been baptized in the Spirit before, I want to encourage you. Just ask the Lord, Lord, give me Holy Spirit. Give me the Holy Spirit. Clothe me with power from on high. If you've been baptized in the Spirit, you've been a charismatic Pentecostal for years and years and years, great, brilliant, praise God. Well, there's always another infilling, because the Lord is taking us to higher levels in Him in these days. But the purpose of the filling of the Holy Spirit is to go off and to be His witnesses. So I want to encourage you today. I want to bless you. I want to tell you, hey guys, press in, because there's so much more available for us. If you just press in and wait actively on the Lord, He is faithful to answer. Have a great day.